Radio Bristol.
John Darvall.
Naughty question this. How long could you go without your phone? And if you have kids or grandkids, do you worry about what they're looking at? And are they safe online? Now, these are huge questions. And now, if you marry that to this statistic that almost half of teenagers feel they're addicted to social media, and if this, of course, comes to this big pressure of tech companies being held to account for the impact of their platforms on their users, what can be done? Well, Lucy Smith from Bradley Stoke is the founder of Inclusive Change, and she's here with me in the studio. Lucy, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
And you just appeared on a Mail Online article.
I did, yes.
Which you did in November that was published this weekend.
Yes.
Quick, aren't they? About your daughter, who is mobile and happy free.
Yes, mobile free.
Mobile
Smartphone free.
How old is she?
She's 17 now.
Okay.
On the way to 18. And she gave up her smartphone when she was 14, 15.
Why?
She felt it fueled her depression. It fueled sadness. She was very, very deeply into a very dark place at that time in her life. She didn't want to be alive a lot of the time. And being on her phone, scrolling endless short content videos about things like how many calories are there in 10 grapes, or looking at body image. She began restrictive eating. She was exercising excessively. She did want to not be in this world.
When did you discover that about your own daughter?
How or when?
When? We'll deal with the how, but
we knew that she was very sad from the age of 9.
Okay.
And so there are layers to this. So as people, we're like onions, right? So we're like ogres. We've got lots of layers, like an onion. And she's autistic, but she didn't know at that point.
And you didn't know either, I'm guessing.
We didn't know when she was 9. No. When she was 11, we got the diagnosis. We got help. And we did get help, and I will say that I'm one of the families who have had a good experience through child and adolescent mental health. Not everybody does, and I know that they don't get a good rap, but we had experiences that were okay. And from 11 onwards, we were able to know, okay, there's a different way of looking at the world for our daughter. And as a result, we look at things in different ways. But at that time, she was really keen on YouTube. She had a YouTube channel. She made money from her YouTube channel. So she got a check in the post from them, because she was getting tons of views and was doing things that we felt were child appropriate. And we thought that we were helping her with learn skills around video editing, around communication, around managing your time.
Content creation, they call it these days, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it also, she engaged with it, and she was.
So it was giving her joy.
Yes,
this was giving your daughter joy.
Gave her joy.
But something at the age of 9 stopped that. What was that? What was it? What was the catalyst? This girl that was enjoying making these things on video and getting paid for it, so that obviously fuels a different desire as well.
Yeah.
What was the change?
The layer and the bit that was difficult for us was her mental health and understanding that she was autistic, and as a result of...
And how did that manifest itself?
Behaviours in terms of not really understanding how she fitted into the world, communication differences, masking all of the time. So trying to fit in with her friends, trying to do things that other 9-year-old, 10-year-old girls were doing, but knowing that didn't quite feel right. And I recall a day when it was a very, very dark day for us in February, and she said, I need to speak to you. I need to ask you about about something. I feel like an alien in this world, and I don't feel like I fit in with anybody. And it was at that point that we started to get help. We talked to the school, we talked to the school nurse, we were referred to paediatrician and CAMS at the same time. But it takes 2 years for you to then work out
it's not
what is going on.
And in a way, it shouldn't be an easy process, because you've got to be able to make certain that you arrive at the right destination properly, with all the information, than being quick and maybe getting it wrong, which can make things worse. So From your daughter's point of view, then, her not seeing how she fits in the world and masking, we've talked about this a lot on the programme. What was she masking? She was being asked to do things or be involved in things within her cohorts that she didn't feel comfortable with, or she didn't understand why.
A lot of it was around sensory impact. So for her, being in noisy environments, being around people, she really
made her very anxious.
Very, very anxious, and she became selective mute for a number of years. So she wouldn't talk outside of the house. We have been incredibly lucky, I'll say, but also because we went to the right places. We've had support through speech and language. The most impactful support we've had was through an occupational therapist who helped us understand how your physiological reaction to anxiety can come out in behaviours like the freeze response around selective mutism, or the flight response in that you want to run away and not be in this situation.
Fight or flight, which is what we all live with.
Exactly.
But most of us are fortunate enough to be able to manage that.
Yes.
Whereas if you're
autistic,
living with
if you're ADHD, you will have additional challenges around those sensory perceptions.
When did she get a phone?
Probably around the age of 8 or 9.
Feel bad about that now, don't you? Because I can see by your face.
We've had this conversation. Yeah. She and I have had this conversation, and she has said it probably wasn't okay for me to have a phone at such a young age.
Why did you do it?
At that time, we felt that she was responsible. That I'd say probably we're looking at around about 20. Well, she's 17 now, so we're probably looking at around about 2013, 2014. And I think TikTok was called Musical.ly at that time.
Yeah.
And so we felt that we controlled things. We felt that we limited things. We monitored what was going on to a certain extent, but we didn't see that the threat was there at that time.
I'm going to pick up on the two words you just said there.
Yeah.
We felt.
Yeah.
The reality was, and this is the brutal reality, and I speak as a parent.
Yeah.
You had no idea.
No.
No idea. And I have no idea. I had this situation with my daughter on Thursday of last week. She wasn't talking. I went to go and see her. She's 14.
Yeah.
14 last week. And I went to go and see her. She was sitting in our sitting room, and she was tears in her eyes. I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "I've just had this conversation with people on my phone, my friends on the phone. So why are you upset?" And these are the people who've been staying that weekend, the previous weekend with her. I said, we've fallen out. And I said, "Show me the messages." And I said, "I'm reading these, and you say you've fallen out. Why?" Because I know what they're saying. I said, "You don't. They've got no context.
Yeah, there's no context.
Yes, no, exactly. Which is exactly the point I made.
Yes.
There is no context. This message. If you want to find out what's going on, speak to them.
Yeah.
Or do me a favour, put the phone down and talk to them face to face tomorrow morning. But please, darling, don't sit here and cry."
Yeah.
And I gave her a phone when she was 11.
Yeah.
And I wish I hadn't.
Well, both.
But I mean, it's like a Pandora's box, isn't it?
Yeah. Both of my kids have said, I wouldn't give my own children a phone until they're at least 15 years old. Both of my children have said that. And
how on earth is that going to fit in the world? Now, your daughter doesn't have a phone.
No.
And she feels she fits in the world better without one.
She is happy. One of the statements that she made fairly recently, I said to her, we were having a chat about something. I said, "How come you have become you have this balanced view, and you seem so confident in yourself now?" "Mum, I don't have a smartphone. I have a lot of time to do other stuff and find out what I like in my life, and I've done that, and I know what I like now."
So she's got a place in the world.
For her, yes.
That makes her feel comfortable.
Yeah.
That doesn't make her anxious.
Yep. Yeah.
And if she had a smartphone, she wouldn't be in that place.
It fueled things. She went back to having a smartphone about about a year ago, maybe there or thereabouts, and she said, I want to get another smartphone, because at the time she was doing a very short college course, and they asked for things like, oh, check out this QR code, look at this online.
And that's because even you have your timetable will be online, and you've got it on your phone, and
just
QR code, click, exactly, use the app.
And she said, I feel like I'm not able to do things because I haven't got this stuff. So she bought herself a second-hand smartphone, and she had it for about 6 months, and then she said, I'm not really bothered about it, I don't really use it, I don't want to keep it. Her brother had broken his smartphone, as you do, and I'd said, I'm not getting you another one. If you want one, you can buy one yourself. And he looked at the sister and said, can I buy you a smartphone? Yep, no problem. So she sold him a second-hand smartphone. She has a dumb phone. She calls it the burner phone. She's like, which is what they have in things like Line of Duty, isn't it? Makes and receives telephone calls and texts, and that's it. And then they snap the SIM card and move on to another burner phone. How does she survive in the world which does require you to look it up online, or your timetables online, or your ticket is sent to you online? She uses an iPad, so she has an iPad.
Okay.
And she generally uses that at home, and she has a laptop. And so is online,
but not with a little handheld computer.
Not with a smartphone. And she gets incredibly frustrated with me, because I am literally glued to either my phone or my tablet. And she's like, Mum, just stop now. She tries to help me, and she's like, right, see those 2 apps that you're on all the time? Delete them. And I go, yeah. And I couldn't delete them. I hid them in another part of my phone, so I don't have muscle memory. So a lot of us will have muscle memory, so we'll be sitting around and we'll be like, oh, I'm bored, what should I do? Oh, I'll just pick that up and I'll just click, because it's there. And so I moved it, but I still know where they are.
It's very easy, Lucy, to be sniffy about this, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, of course, I read books, and I wander around and stroke trees and look at fine art and culture and everything else. I don't use my phone.
It's not all bad.
No.
Being online isn't all bad, and actually it's incredibly empowering for some people. So access to communities that you may not have had before, finding out stuff that you may not have thought about. There's a whole wealth of stuff out there that's amazing. I've made friends from being online. I have friends who we have connected over a shared interest, mostly around SEND, special educational needs, mostly around being passionate about making change happen and digital safety.
And that's a very powerful community. The SEND community is because it's about experience, and you're able to share and help others weave their way around the system when they may well have found themselves, at the end of a cul-de-sac.
Yep. And my business and other people's businesses thrive because of social media, because of this stuff. But younger people need to find the right way to engage with social media, and ways that don't impact our mental health in such devastating ways as it can do.
I don't think we're designed to be that connected. I mean, I say that, minded that I work on the radio, I work in the media, I am surrounded by computer screens which are all online. I've got the news channel on there, I've got my own mobile phone which is over here it is, it's by my side in the studio. I've had a lot of messages from my eldest son about his little baby girl and what have you, and all that sort of stuff. So I am connected, and that's a very good example. I'm connected to my son on the other side of the world. He's in New Zealand, I'm here, so there's a huge time difference. Now I couldn't do that. It would be sort of, well, I remember, I'm old enough to remember my mum having to phone the operator to make a call to Ireland to speak to her aunt on Christmas Day. That's how old I am.
Yeah.
So, we have come a long way.
Incredible positives.
But how do you learn to let go? How do you achieve what your daughter's done? So
she has helped us come up with a guide around simplifying your digital life. So it's not all or nothing. There isn't we don't say you have to get rid of everything, cancel it all. That's not going to work for everybody. That's just not going to be possible.
Hasn't worked for you either, has it? Despite the fact your daughter asked you to.
But I have tried to do little things. And so we talk about a few steps. And the first one is to think about and consider, what do you want to achieve from a lesser connection to the online world? What do you want to get out of it? Do you want more time back? Do you want to spend more time with your family? Do you want to do things that are not online? So the first step is to go, do I want to do this? Does this make me miserable? Does being online, being on social media, being wherever, does it make us miserable? Because if it doesn't make you miserable and it makes you happy, then don't stop. It's okay. If it's really, truly making you happy, then great, no problem. But if there are aspects to being online that you notice are making you miserable, like, for instance, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is pick up your phone and scroll through social media, see what messages are on there, see what things are happening in the world. You click on something, it makes you feel cross and angry because you've been watching, I don't know, something comes up in your feed around the post office, Mr. Bates versus the post office, and it just makes you angry. And you spend the next few minutes thinking how cross and angry you are about something. That doesn't do us
Which is
any
not
good.
a good way to start the day, is it?
No. So think about, well, actually, I'd quite like to wake up and not have my phone next to me in my bedroom. That could be one of the first things that you think about doing, taking it away.
Buy an alarm clock.
Exactly.
Because that's the thing,
That's
isn't
the
it?
reason we
But
got it next
then
to
that's part of the. I mean, we're short of
Absolutely.
time now, but that's part of the confection is that the mobile phone has been designed to be indispensable to modern living. You talked about QR codes.
Yes.
QR codes have been around for ages, but they've just gained traction now in a way that they haven't for years. And everything from the fact that it is your alarm to scan this, to log into the iPlayer or whatever, you'll have scan this to get in there and so on and so forth. So they've been made to be indispensable, but what you're saying is that they're not.
They're not really. In reality, we can live without them. We can find other ways.
The world
for
will
instance,
turn. Yeah.
The world will continue turning. If you said, okay, I'm going to give up my smartphone, or I'm going to put my smartphone somewhere else for a period of time. If you really need to get online, you've probably got a tablet, you've probably got a laptop, you've probably got somebody else who can look online for you, if you really need to. One of the key things, though, that we talk about, and I know we haven't got much time, you have to find replacements for the time that you spend online. You need to find other things to fill that time. And that's where you have to be a little bit intentional. You have to think about, what is it I can fill my time doing? Could I fill my time with a real book rather than an ebook? Because if I use an ebook, I'm tempted to look in that place. So I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to get myself a book, or I'm going to do some art, or I'm going to learn a new skill.
There's also nothing wrong with being bored.
There is nothing wrong with being bored, but we're not used to it now.
No, we're not. But being bored allows you to be creative.
Yes, and it allows you to think about your own thoughts, to think about what you like, what you don't like. You may find things out about yourself that you never thought could be achieved.
Lucy, you can find out more by looking at Inclusive Change online.
Yep.
Put that into a search engine of your choice. Inclusive Change. Lucy Smith from Bradley Stoke. Thank you so much for coming in. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you.